Hello everyone. In this, we will understand about what is internal validity and external validity in research. First one, internal validity. It refers to the extent to which a study accurately demonstrates a causal relationship between variables. Generally, in any research, the researcher may be interested in establishing a causal relationship between independent variables and its dependent variable. That means, but the whatever effect which is happening in the dependent variable, it may be not only due to your independent variables, but it may be due to other factors also. How good the control is by the researcher in those factors tells about the internal validity. That is what the meaning is. Means if the researcher could able to conclude that whatever cause which is happening in dependent variable, it is only due to independent variables, what is there in focus, then you can say the internal validity is very high. A study has higher internal validity when changes in the dependent variable can be confidently attributed to the manipulation of the independent variable rather than to any other extraneous factors. We already discussed about extraneous factors in our previous video. Threats to internal validity include factors such as confounding variables, selection bias, maturation, history, and experimental mortality. So here experimental mortality is also known as the attrition or dropout, means people leaving during the process of experimentation. So it refers to the loss of participants from an experiment before its completion. Maturation refers to changes that occur naturally over time within participants in an experiment, independent of the experimental manipulation. These changes can be physical, psychological, or developmental factors such as aging, the cognitive development, hormonal changes, or learning. So these all can affect. Researchers employ various methods to enhance internal validity, such as random assignment, bringing in control groups, counterbalancing the order, etc. Choosing a careful experimental design. High internal validity is crucial for drawing accurate conclusions about cause and effect relationships within a study. An example, a researcher conducts a study to investigate the effects of a new teaching method on student learning outcomes. Means here the researcher is considering the new teaching method as the independent variable and the learning outcome as the dependent variable. Means he wants to create a direct cause and effect between these two. The researcher ensures that all other variables such as students' motivation, prior knowledge, and class environment remains constant across the experimental group and the control group. This minimizes the chance of these external factors influencing the results because he is keeping those things as constants. Participants are randomly assigned to either the experimental group, that is the group which is receiving the new teaching method, or the control group who is actually receiving a traditional teaching method only. This helps ensure that any differences in outcomes between the two groups are due to the teaching method and not other factors. Standardized tests may be used to assess student performance before and after the intervention. External validity in research. External validity is basically about the generalization of the findings. For example, I am doing an experiment in a particular environment. Can I extend the findings to other environments also or to a larger population also? If I can, then I can say my research has got a higher external validity. It refers to the generalizability of the findings of a research study beyond the specific context of the study itself. It assesses whether the results obtained from a study can be applied to other populations, settings, or conditions. The researcher ensures that the participants in the study represent the broader population of interest. The study should take place in settings which are all possible in real world situations. So initially itself you plan, these are all possible. So we may also need to do the experiment in those settings. The study should consider variations in conditions that might affect the generalizability of the findings. Ideally, the study findings should be replicated, means repeated across multiple settings and populations to strengthen the confidence in the generalizability. An example, same example we are considering, effects of new teaching method on student learning outcomes. If the goal is to generalize the findings to all elementary school students, because I am currently doing the research on elementary school students, then the study should include a diverse sample of students from different backgrounds, different social economic statuses, and different geographic locations. If the new teaching method is intended for use in typical classroom settings, even the study should be conducted in actual classrooms rather than artificial laboratory environments. The study might include schools with different levels of resources. Every school will have different levels of resources. So we also need to focus on those variations. So students with varying levels of academic ability, so that you can able to assess whether the effects of the teaching method holds across diverse conditions or not. Replication studies conducted in different regions or with the different demographic groups can help assess the robustness of the findings. By addressing these aspects of external validity, researchers can definitely enhance the probability that the findings of the study can be applied to the real world context beyond the specific conditions of the research.